to have you here. Thanks for being here.
You know, this is my first time on your show.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
This is very exciting.
Well, this is exciting for us too. You know, we were a bunch of us. We're big fans, and we were talking about your movie career. You know, today, and all the different roles you've played. And then I said, for my money, my favorite performance of yours, it's hard to pick one, is in Peggy Sue Got Married. Oh. Because you play, is it Charlie? It's Charlie Bodell, I think.
That's right.
And you took this acting choice in that movie that I believe it was a very brave acting choice. You went for this voice in that character. And when I first saw the movie, I thought this was gutsy, because you chose this voice. It could have maybe ended things for you right there, and instead it was hilarious and great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, I almost got fired for that one.
You almost got fired?
Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, I almost did. And
yeah.
I remember my uncle had to talk the studio down and say, you know, this is what he's doing.
Right.
It's okay. But I never worked with him again after that. But, you know, that's what happened.
Right.
I chose the voice of, I was a fan of the Gumby show when I was a child.
The Gumby show, yeah, famous show, yeah.
Pokey was the claymation horse.
Right.
There's
Gumby. Yeah, we always keep a Gumby and Pokey photo in case anyone happens to reference it.
That's a good picture of him. They look good together. His voice sounded like it was always a little bit accelerated. So he would say things like, next time, Gumby, use your own go-kart. I just love that sound of that voice.
Sure, yeah,
but the scary thing is that I find that I use it more and more with every year that I get older when I get tired.
You don't, so you didn't just use it for the role in Peggy Sue Got Married, you're now using it in your actual life.
Now it's actually happening to me when I least expect it, like when I'm very tired. So, for example, I was making a movie in Thailand. I was working 3 days in a row, and my stuntman was there, and we were working out some sort of karate move, and I said, hey, Dave, what about that jujitsu hold? Are we gonna go there? And of course, everyone was terrified. I try to do it so that I don't get, I try to always have a good attitude. I don't like to lose my temper or raise my voice. But, you know, sometimes in the morning when I'm a little bit cranky and tired, it's like, hi, Alice. You know, I don't know what coffee to make this morning. I really don't know.
And it's almost like you can be that other person, you know, a little bit and take a break. I understand it.
Well, yeah, well, it's sort of a release.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, it's so hilarious in the movie, and this is just for real movie buffs, but there's a scene where you're actually eating Rice Krispies treats, and you're going like, and it was, I remember seeing it in the theater and just dying laughing. It was so funny.
Trying not to throw up.
No knock to Rice Krispies treats. They're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I do like those.
Yeah, they're very good. They may be a sponsor. I'll find out later.
They're fantastic with the marshmallows, and they're crispy. They're so crunchy.
Now you've gone too far. You know, it's funny. Also, you, I think, have covered more ground than most movie actors. Drama, comedy, action. And I'm curious, it seems like you're able to almost shapeshift more than most actors. That's a compliment, but who's the real Nick Cage?
Well, thank you. It's interesting you mentioned that. If you follow that Chinese animality, like this is the year of the pig, I once thought that I was born in the year of the dragon because it was 64, but then I found out that the Chinese New Year actually begins in February, so I was born in the year of the bunny. And I had this incredible identity crisis that I was no longer a dragon, I was a bunny, after I had a dragon tattooed on my back and I had a dragon
Wait a minute. You thought you were born in the year of the dragon, so you have a dragon tattooed on your back.
I went for it. I'm going to embrace this because it was a really cool sign to have.
Sure, yeah.
And then they said, no, you're a bunny. So that was a very, that was a very sad period in my life. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't leave the house.
Could you add ears to the dragon, or?
I tried to think of that, some sort of concoction between the two.
Right.
But then my mother-in-law is Korean, and she said to me this year, though, in fact, you are born in the year of the dragon, because in Korea we celebrate January as the beginning of the year, and also in Japan. So now I'm back, and I'm feeling very good about my new scales. I'm back, I'm accepting my dragonhood once again.
So you're used to having sort of a shattered personality almost.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe that went into the acting.
I think so.
Sometimes you're a dragon, sometimes you're a bunny.
Yeah. That'll be taken out of context. Obviously, you were interested in being an actor at an early age. Was there a time when you realized, when you were very young, okay, acting, this is something I have a facility for?
Well, there is a memory of mine that comes back to me now where I was on a bus. I was in 4th grade, and I was picked on by the bullies on the bus because my mother used to pack a Twinkie in my lunch sack, and they would always want to take it, and I didn't want them stealing the Twinkie anymore.
Right.
So I remember one day, for some reason, I put on my older brother's cowboy boots, and I put these sunglasses on, and I dressed in these tight jeans, and I had all this swagger and attitude. And I went on the bus, and I said that I was Roy Wilkinson. I was Nicky's cousin, and I'm gonna beat you up if you pick on him anymore. And they stopped picking on me, so I thought that was like my first time that I could actually maybe play a part. Now, I don't know if they really believed it, but it was just enough that
they might have been afraid of you a little bit.
Well, yeah. It was a weird thing for me to do, but yeah, that might be my first acting experience. And there was another bully named Jonathan Foster. Jonathan Foster. Well, I guess he could call in at some point now. I mean, now I've mentioned his name, but he would...
He's probably, you know, in prison now.
He would go around the neighborhood on his Schwinn bike, and he would torment my brothers. And there I was 7 years old, and I would pretend that I was the Incredible Hulk, and I ripped my shirt off and my jeans and would scream at him, and he ran away on the bike, and he never came back. So that was another little weird
You
acting.
literally acted like the Hulk, like you had gone...
Oh, and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
I was only 7.
Again, he was very afraid.
I heard you did a Hulk thing. On
Years ago, we had me transform into the Hulk, and the main joke was that I turned green but still had the same sunken chest as Conan O'Brien.
Hilarious.
You
know
thanks
who
a lot.
Who I really love is Cloppy, the horse.
Oh yeah, we have a horse on the show, Cloppy, who always becomes suicidal. Yeah,
right, that's
we'll have to bring him out here for you sometime. Next time you come, we'll bring out Cloppy.
Yeah, that would be good.
Now let's talk about.
I love Cloppy.
I always hear a different thing from people, but I haven't heard Cloppy in a while.
Pokey and Cloppy could be friends.
I see what you're into. Let me ask you about, now, Ghost Rider. This is the new film, and it's interesting because this is your first, you've made so many films, this is the first time you get to play a superhero, which I think is it's a little ironic because you were, I understand, a huge fan of comic books. I would think that would be your lifetime dream to play a superhero.
Well, yeah, at one time I was going to play Superman, and that was with Tim Burton, but I think we had choices that might have not been too comfortable for the studio because we wanted
the Gumby voice again?
Well, maybe that, something else, you know.
I love you, Lois.
Good night, Lois.
But this was the right choice for me, Ghost Rider. He's so cool because he's not in tights. He doesn't have a cape. He's got a flaming skull for a head. He's in
Flaming skull is hard to beat.
It's hard to top. Yeah.
And also, he has this. He has a great superpower.
He has the penance stare. And that's where he looks at you and he turns everything you ever did wrong back on you. He's like karma personified. It's pretty cool stuff for a superhero.
He brings up your worst nightmare from your past.
Everything you ever did wrong, he turns it right back at you.
Right. And if that's not bad enough, then he can beat you with a bicycle chain.
Well, he has that chain, and he can throw fire at you.
Yeah, yeah. So it must be fun to be this character.
It was, because that character, when I was a boy, I loved him because I couldn't understand how something so scary could also be so good.
Right.
And it's like Faust and Evel Knievel and Beauty and the Beast and a Western and a biker movie and like a horror film, like a great big werewolf movie all thrown into one. And those are all things I find fun.
Very cool having you on the show. Thanks for doing it. Yeah,
Thank
very nice to have you. Nicolas Cage.